I want you to remember that question, the things that I wish somebody had asked me. I wish somebody would have told me had about discipline and making the right decision when it came to sex, marriage, parenting, and self care. I just came to the realization that with constant discipline applied to every area of your life, we can discover untold, uncovered, unique possibilities and opportunities. These opportunities can and will benefit our current situation, our current family structure, and the family structure that we won't be here to see. Excuse me, but when a strong foundation is put in place, it can and will stand the test of time. Well, when we spend our lives gathering information, knowledge, gathering skills, gathering experiences, but how many of you know you can gather all the knowledge and all the skills and all the experiences, but if you don't apply that knowledge, if you don't apply the knowledge that you received from the skills, the experiences, and those things, you're going to have a very difficult time. So anyone can develop discipline. Let me say it again. Anyone can develop discipline. It's a skill, and it's not complicated. You just have to train yourself for it. So, I want to give you some practical tips. You know I love practical tips. I don't want you to come away with or leave with not having the tips. But I want to give you some practical tips that you can take away from this. So, number 1, set big goals. When you challenge yourself to achieve a bigger goal, you really dedicate yourself to the craft. So now let's think about it. If you say, I want to save $1,000 in the course of a year because, now just saying you want to save $1,000 is not enough. You need to put a because on it. Because and the because needs to be meaningful. The because needs to be life-changing. Because if you don't have that because, when you set that big goal, and you're more willing to go back to the behavior of not saving that $1,000 than doing what you need to do in order to save that $1,000. And the more time that you put into it, the more vested you are in it, and the less likely you are to quit. And if something happens, you're more likely to get right back in that cycle that you created to achieve your goal, because you understood that you had skin in the game. You were able to save $100. And if you could save $100, you can repeat that process over until you save $200 and $300 and then $1,000. And then you can set the goal bigger to do it again. I just hope that you see that it's possible. Number 2, your goal has to be clear. You have to clearly define what your goal means to you and what you will specifically do to achieve it. You have to clearly define what the goal means to you, not her, not your coworker, not your neighbor, but what it means to you and what you are specifically willing to do to achieve that goal. If you set out to live a healthier life, for example, Will you go walking every day? Will you go running every day? What time will you do it? How long will you do it for? Will you eat healthier or eat healthy? If there's no clear goal, you may walk, you may not. You may eat healthy, you may not. But if you don't know how long you're going to walk, you may walk for 5 minutes and tell yourself, well, I walked today. So your goals have to be clear. You have to know, here's number 3, that every day matters. Every day matters. When you wake up in the morning, do you know when you have your goal, do you know when you wake up every day what it is that you need to, what are the most important things you need to do to accomplish that goal today? Every goal, every priority, you have to set yourself a particular daily goal to get it done. For anybody that watches sports, football, basketball, track, whatever, athletes know, professional athletes, college athletes, they know that there is a routine, there is a regimen, there is something that has to be done in order for them to maintain the level that they're at or get better. And every practice, every session, every film study, everything that they do is put in place to make them better at their particular sport, at their particular thing. Now, this leads me into number 4. Don't argue with the plan. Now, I don't know if my oldest twin will hear this, but she was doing competitive gymnastics. And early on, she said she wanted to go to the Olympics. And then we were like, ooh, that's a big one. And so I think it might have been 2026 where she would go, because 2023 would be next year. 2026, 2020, I don't know. But neither here nor there. It was going to take her consistent dedication. It was going to take her parents' consistent dedication, time, resources, sacrifice to get her there. Now, how many of you know if you want to go to the Olympics, each training session matters? There isn't one that's less important than the other. Each training session matters. It's the same with everything else in your life. When you start the process, you can't question it. You can't hesitate. You can't back down. You have to work hard every single day to reach that dream. And you got to go at full force. And if you can't do it by this point in time, depending on what the goal is, you've acquired a coach. And when you pay for a coach, the coach's job is to push you a little bit further each time you're in practice for the goal, for the game. Your job's not to question the coach. Your job is to put in the work, follow the plan, do what it is that is being asked of you, because they know that you said that you want to do boom. You want to go to the league? Here's what it's going to have to take. You want to go to the Olympics? Here's what it's going to have to take. And you have to understand that it's not just you. There are other people that you're competing against. So you have to be You have to be just as disciplined, if not more, than the next person. And a lot of times, the next person is a person that you can't see. Now, with that, number five, you have to build a no matter what mindset. No matter what. Build the mindset that no matter what, you will accomplish the thing that you said you would accomplish when you said you would accomplish it. No matter what. Let's go back to that $1,000. You start to save and then something comes up and you have to use the savings that you have. Do you quit? Or, do you keep going? It's a valid question. Do you quit and throw your hands up and be like, every time that I start, something happens? Or do you become a little bit more aggressive to get to that $1,000? So let me take that back. When something happens, now you have that $1,000 as seed that's going to help you in that situation. The choice is yours. You have to figure out what it is that you're willing to do, and you have to develop a no matter what mindset. No matter what, you have to create pressure for yourself. Otherwise, nothing will get done. No matter what. I add, you have to figure out what stimulates your mind. What is the thing that pushes you? What is that thing that it's like, what's the trigger? That if somebody hits that button, yeah, you're going to do it no matter what. Somebody plucks that nerve, you're going to do it no matter what. A lot of times we have the no matter what, and it's like negative. I know for me, if you pushed my button, it pissed me off no matter what. And I wanted to get back at you. As I've grown, I realized that that's not the right way to do it. And I had to turn the attitude that I may have had, I had to turn it around and have the no matter what, that I'm going to work on fixing that thing, that trigger, so when it happens again, I don't respond the same way. But I had to have the no matter what in order to do that. Let's see, we're on number 6. Number 6, plan a routine. Remember, I talked about a routine. I talked about a plan. Plan a routine. You have to create a routine that becomes second nature, automatic, normal. Go back to your athlete. Athletes know how many hours a day they have to train, and how long they will train. They know when the break is going to come for lunchtime. They know how long the lunch break is going to be. They know what time they're going to eat. They know what they're going to eat. A lot of professional athletes have nutritionists, and they have somebody that cooks for them. They tell them when to eat. The meals are ready. All they have to do is show up. But that's part of the routine. That's part of having the no matter what mindset. That is part of the not arguing with the plan. That's part of knowing that every day matters. That's having clear goals. That's knowing what the big goal is and what is needed to achieve that goal. By following the same routine, it becomes second nature every single day. You get up and the discipline preps them to win when it's game time. The one thing one of my coaches told me was practice is supposed to be hard, because when you get on the field, that's when you're supposed to have fun. That's when you're supposed to show every single thing that you learned in practice. Now, in that moment, I ain't want to hear that because practice was hard. Practice has always been hard. But the question is, will you understand that your no matter what mindset has been put in place for a reason so you can achieve the big goal that you said that you wanted? I hope you get the point. We'll go on to number 7. Number 7 is commit. Discipline was instilled in me by my mama and my grandmama. Discipline, now ask yourself this question. Discipline was instilled in you by who? Just wanted to give you time to figure out who it was. I would do things and I would ask, could I do this or whatever it was? And she would say something to the effect, just be careful where you spend your time. Because once you start something, you can't quit it. Be careful where you spend your time, because when you start something, you can't quit it. You'll have to follow through with it to the end. So when I said I wanted to play high school football as a freshman, and they said that there was 3-a-days, and they started at 5:30, it was, is this what you really want to do? And you had, it wasn't 3-a-days as a freshman, it was 2-a-days. And they were long 2-a-days. But I didn't drive at the time. I had to make sure that I got to practice. I had to make sure that I got back from practice. I had to make sure that I got back to practice and home. That takes commitment. And regardless of whatever else it was that I did, I had that be careful where you spend your time, because once you start, you can't stop. Now, coming from my mom, she would get mad that I haven't had the same job for however many years, because she did. She retired from the state early. And she only worked at the state. So for her, she took that to she took that to heart. She committed. When she took that job, she took that job, and she was there all the days, whether she liked it or not. She was there. And when I've switched jobs, she's like, "Are you sure you want to do that?" Yeah, I don't want to do it. I was committed in the moment, and now I'm not. So now I need to find something else I can need to commit to. But understanding now the plan, the routine, the no matter mindset, not to argue with the plan, know that every day matters, setting clear goals. I can take that into when I decide where I want to work. And I use that to progress professionally within an organization. So number 8, understand the transformation process. Your body and your brain will do everything it can to resist change and growth. Case in point, I started running, I don't know how many years ago. And, once you sign up for your first race, it becomes addictive. And it did. And I went from running 5Ks to 10Ks. And then one day my wife did a half marathon and I volunteered. And I was like, I could do that. I could do it. So for my 40-something birthday, what did I do? I decided to run a half marathon. I don't know if I trained effectively or not. And, based upon how the other half marathons that I've run since then have gone, that one didn't go too well. I didn't understand the assignment. My legs locked up after mile 9. I hated it. I wanted to quit, but I didn't. I was able to run across the finish line at the 13.1 mile mark. So I had a baseline, and I had to do another one because I had to have a better time or a better experience the next time out. But I had to understand, in order to have a better experience, I had to do some things differently. I had to, and when you change the plan, you will get a transformation. And how many of you know, if you do a thing long enough and you put in the work that you're supposed to put in, the transformation process will happen. But there were several moments where my body and my brain wanted to resist change and go back to normal. But I want you to know that that's natural. It's natural to feel lazy and undisciplined, because there was many days that I didn't want to run and I didn't. And when I did run and I didn't want to, I did it begrudgingly. And it seemed like it just took longer. But you also need to know that you have the power. I have the power. That wasn't, it's a song. Anyway, you have the power to fight it. The one thing my wife would say is mind over matter. Legs would cramp up and she'd be like, you can will your body to do anything. And I'm like, I cannot. My legs are saying, stop. Them cramps in my leg are saying, shut up and stop and sit down and quit. But when you have the right mindset of, I'm going to finish because I understand the assignment, regardless when the mind and the brain want to shut down, I was able to fight through it, pain and all, and cross the finish line. And it seems like every half marathon that I've run, I always have to find another one, whether it's a good deal, it's in a different location, there's something. Even the one, we ran one and we didn't train for it, and it was just horrible. Oh gosh. It didn't stop. Signed up for another one. So we're scheduled to run, we're running a half marathon, a rock and roll half marathon in San Diego in the beginning of June. And that's my last one. I just want to be able to run because my body don't want to do it no more. My body or my mind don't want to do it. Which leads me to number 9. Go above your feelings. The hardest part about discipline is maintaining the actions needed to achieve the dream or state of happiness. There were days that I would run and feel great. Morning, I would get up, I would look forward to it the night before. So I already had in my mind that the run was going to be fantastic. I already knew that when my feet hit the floor, I laced up my shoes. I got in my car, drove to the location that I was just parking and I was going to do the run, that it was going to be a phenomenal experience. Those were my best runs. Those were the runs that meant the most to me. Those were the runs that I look forward to, that I look back on and say, whew, I see the transformation. Real quick, I want to go over the 9 that I've given you so far. Set big goals, set clear goals, know that every moment matters. Don't argue with the plan. Build a no matter what mindset. Plan a routine. Commit. Understand the transformation process. And go above feelings. Discipline is the direct training of a fighter. I am Oliver Green, and I want to say thank you for tuning in to Let's Talk Dirty. Talk soon. Peace.